Good morning and a hearty welcome to this press conference for the opening of the Austrian Tourism Days. We have Petra Stolba, she's the Managing Director of AMTO, then Robert Sego, he is working in the Austrian Chamber of Commerce, Sophie Karmasin, she is working in the Office for Opinion Research, and Florian Größwang, he is also the Division Manager of AMTO. And afterwards we can also answer to your questions. So, Mrs. Petra Stolba, so I would also like to welcome you, and I hope that a lot of you is sitting in front of your screens. The Austrian Tourism Days this year, of course, means opening restart of tourism 2 days before the big opening of Austria in Austrian tourism. And with our Austrian Tourism Days, we have 3 targets. That first, together with the Ministry, Federal Ministry for Agriculture and Tourism, and also with the Chamber of Economy of Austria, we would like to send a signal about tourism in Austria and our advantages in Austria. The second target is, of course, we also want to guarantee and provide international network for our enterprises. We have international buyers and we have a good network. And the third target is we want to show a variety of programs for the Austrian tourism business. We have prepared a lot of lectures and also a transfer of knowledge and information. No matter if it is an Austrian enterprise or an international buyer, there is one question: how will Austrian tourism be in summer? Which kind of summer season will we have? The good information is we will have a summer season. We are deeply convinced about this, but restoring this freedom of traveling is important. From our point of opinion, it is important to have uniform travel regulations for coming to Austria and for leaving Austria and going back to your respective countries. Austria has a concept including certain steps with the green certificate. We have the 3 Gs, which means you are vaccinated, you are recovered, or you are tested. And together with all these traveling regulations based on the DCDC card, this will be a great base for this transparency. The second big question is, how do our guests consider the summer season? We are a very successful host country, and we are always happy to welcome guests from our neighboring countries, but also from all other countries. And our inquiries, our dashboards, and our information from 21 offices of national tourism in Austria show the following. The mood spending holidays in Austria is quite good. From today's point of view, Austria is very popular within Austria and in the neighboring countries. And this is a tendency which will continue. That is, people want to have sustainable and tourism, slow tourism, and this will be also reported by Mrs. Karmasin. A very important aspect, which we saw already 2020, a lot more outdoor activities are popular. For example, climbing, walking, bicycling, swimming. These activities are very popular according to our inquiries. And we also assume that our guests want to be in nature, want to be active in nature, especially after this limiting period. While visiting cities, and I have to say this, and I'm really sorry for that because I love tourism, I work in tourism, visiting cities will, well, based on our international guests, will start later compared to tourism in the country. Here we have to be patient, but altogether we see that people are interested in holidays. They want to book holidays in our neighboring countries and also from abroad. Austria succeeded this summer to be among the first three favorite destinations of the German tourists. So we are on the same level as Italy and Spain. This is important because we have 50% of German tourists in a normal year. And we also see in our inquiries and opinion polls that Austria is very popular with tourists who are coming to Austria for a long time already, and also among newcomers who are more or less discovering Austria. So our German friends are very enthusiastic to spend their holidays in Austria, and we want to convince them. There is also a great potential in the Netherlands. 7% of overnight stays before Corona is a very important market for us, and opinion polls concerning summer holiday speak about the fact that also the Netherlands and tourists from Netherlands want to spend their holidays in the Austrian mountains, and we hope we can offer them appropriate items. And of course, we should not forget the Austrian tourists. They also want to spend their holidays in Austria. Every second person in Austria who wants to spend holidays wants to spend these holidays in Austria. Like last year, it's the same. Spending holidays in Austria will be able only with certain preconditions. So, well, more tourists for Anto also needs more inquiries and more questions by our guests about safety concepts, under which circumstances holidays can be spent in Austria. And in all our 21 offices for national tourism abroad and also in Vienna, we have to answer all these questions. We have to discuss our safety concepts, and we have to make them available in 20 different languages to our guests. So the subject of safety, of security, is very important for our guests. And this is also a big advantage for tourism country of Austria, because it is supposed that we can realize this safety concept. So this is the good information. Guests want to come to Austria. And if we succeed to organize these vacancies and these holidays in a simple way, then we are convinced that summer 21 will be just a follow-up of summer 21. Ladies and gentlemen, I would also like to welcome you. I'm speaking here at the Austrian Tourism Days on behalf and as a representative of 90,000 touristic enterprises. And this is a great pleasure for me, because we are now in front of a big opening. And you know, tourism was the division which suffered most during the pandemics. This was a time which was, just a continuous stop and go. And for our enterprise, this is a psychological, of course, difficult situation. The other side is the economic side, the economic effect. A lot of enterprises have great difficulties now, and the Austrian Tourism Days here in Vienna will give us a good impression about a new orientation, about an additional network, about additional cooperation. As a representative of the Austrian tourism enterprises, let me just inform you about a few items. We are very happy that we can be a host country again. So we are well prepared. We have heard from all our enterprises that they are in a very good mood. Everybody wants to open the enterprises. Everybody is hungry, but not only the enterprises are hungry, but also our clients, our guests from abroad and from Austria, they are hungry. And I think we have to cover up. We want to go to restaurants. We want to have events. We want to travel. We want to organize congresses. We want to go back to the heart of tourism. We want to be your host again. And let me mention also with Ö3, which is a Austrian radio transmission, we have also a special transmission with a very good feedback and which also shows that people are hungry to get back their normal life. And I would also like to thank our federal minister, Mrs. Köstinger. This is a mutual event, and we are cooperating with the Ministry for Tourism. I would like to thank her. Petra Stolba talked already about this so-called green passport, green certificate. We need free traveling in order to enable free traveling in Europe and also in the whole world. Well, let me mention a few items which are very important for the touristic future of our country. Tourism is a field of activity which is always subject to traditions and new developments. We also want, of course, to recognize new tendencies, but we also want to keep typical Austrian traditional items. And I think this is a very good mixture, which is typical for Austria as a tourism country. Well, during the pandemics, we had a lot of cases among enterprises which were difficult to overcome, but I know our Austrian entrepreneurs, and I know that in Austria people are used to start working again. And I'm sure that Austrian tourism will be stronger after the pandemics than before. We had 14 very difficult months, but as far as I know, my colleagues in the Austrian enterprises, I know that they are happy to start again. What do we need? I'm here also as a representative of the Chamber of Economy for Tourism in Austria, and I can say that the policy representation of interests is a difficult task, but in order to be successful, we need certain framework conditions which are state-of-the-art, which also guarantee economic survival. So the next 6 weeks will be still quite difficult. Maybe there will not be economical profit, but everybody's happy to open their enterprises again. I'm the representative of interests of tourism, and there are a few ideas we have. One thing is very important. We need a strategy looking ahead in order to overcome the barriers. And this is also the labor market in tourism. This means financial situation. This means also tourism in the regions. And this means also guests of the future. Well, finances and the financial situation is very important for labor market. We need highly qualified workers. Some have left to other departments during the crisis. I ask myself sometimes, well, it's no wonder, because we have to offer perspectives to our young people, and this is quite a big problem for tourism. And so phase 5 of short-term working, especially for hotels in the city, is still very important. And as far as the financial framework is concerned, well, there is the lacking capital situation. We need tools like, for example, credits for tourism in cooperation with the banks and the Austrian Bank of Tourism.
We also need more aid as much as social security payments are concerned. Then we need an expansion of the fixed cost grant and also a reduction of VAT by 5% in the next year. All this is important. But what we also need is a connection and a cooperation between tourism businesses in the regions. And I am sure that here during this fair we will still hear a lot on this topic. And what is very important for all the stakeholders is to raise the bar for tourism. Tourism plays a key role in Austria's economy. And there are also all those suppliers which are directly or indirectly linked to the sector of tourism. And I think that this event here will provide a lot of input, many new ideas, in order to be able to restart tourism in Austria. And I am convinced that tourism will be stronger than ever before after this crisis. Sophie Karmasin. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm pleased to be able to present a new survey to you, and we will see whether there is a desire to vacation in Austria and what expectations there are and what protective measures people are looking for. So first the questions: how do people feel at the end of this crisis and what changes are expected? And we can see that everything will be a bit more extreme than last year. So 21% expect many changes. And we also see that the value orientation has changed significantly compared to the time before the crisis. So how much are people prepared to spend, to consume? And here we see, and Mrs. Stolba said it at the beginning, the desire to vacation in Austria is stronger than before the crisis. 31% of the respondents are saying this. So this tendency is high. Altogether, the desire to vacation at all is higher than it was before the pandemic. And there is also a tendency to spend one's vacation abroad. So this means that there is a lot of competition for Austria, but nevertheless, Austria stays on top of those desires of vacation. There's also a lot of longing for going to restaurants, to cafes again, now 2 days before reopening, but also the desire to go shopping. And the behavior, this behavior is stronger with youth than with the older generation. So young people want to spend money, they are ready to consume. So what trends are there in society? So vacation in Austria is still a tendency in Austria. 62% of the respondents say that they want to spend their vacation in Austria. Also, experiencing and being in nature is a big desire. Regionality, also sustainability and health are big mega trends that will continue to exist. And the question on online shopping and online communication in all existing facets has increased compared to the previous year, and this will be also felt in the sector of tourism. So which values have changed compared to 2020? There is a big change as far as freedom, nature are concerned, outdoor experiences during vacation, spending time together, fairness, closeness. These topics, these forward-looking topics, remain to be very strong. What changes are the topics control and distance. So people don't want to have those lockdowns anymore, not only in a spatial sense, but also in a mental sense. So after 6 months, this is something that might actually disappear during the next months. And safety measures, how important are they? Or do people think that everything can be done? Again, no, for 71%, security measures are a decisive topic. And the second question is, in how far do Austrians trust the tourism industry? So whether the industry implements all those protective measures. But a large part of the population trusts the industry. And I think this is an important argument also for foreign guests and vacationers, so that these safety measures are reliably implemented. Important also is the question, what kind of safety measures are people looking for and which are necessary in order to convince people to spend their vacation in Austria. So the test offers, the opportunities to get tested are very important for people, and those tests should be free of cost. So this is the topic that is the most convincing one for 57%, and the green passport is also an important measure that is important for every second person in Austria. And also vaccination is seen as useful, 42%. So to have a certain vaccination strategy for the workforce of the tourism sector. So altogether, there is a very clear opinion on security and safety measures. And now the question of new trends and tendencies in tourism. There are very strong trends, which actually also speak of a change of values. So this is there is the factor of more regionality, of more traditional offerings of deceleration, and also the topic of safety measures. So those are the most important topics that were mentioned by the respondents. And as far as planning of vacation is concerned, 45% are planning right now a summer vacation. This is significantly more than last year. Last year, this was 30%. And the question is, where do people want to go? 58% plan to stay in Austria. So 58% of those who are planning a vacation want to spend their vacation in Austria, but also in some European countries, So there is this desire to have a summer vacation if the necessary measures will be in place. So what are people looking forward to? And here are quite some quotations which we selected for you. For example, I love this beautiful country. From the Bodensee Lake to the Neusiedler Lake, I look forward to spending time with friends and family. I look forward when there will be fewer infections and when we can spend a relaxed vacation, having dinners with friends and family, and so on. So when are people planning to spend their vacation? There is quite some flexibility, short-term planning. They say so. Many say it depends on the developments. I will probably take a last-minute decision. Only few have already booked their convention, so everything is becoming more dynamic, more short-term. And as far as the decisions on accommodation are concerned, what are people looking for? And those topics are very much influenced by the pandemic. First of all, it's the price, of course. People are not looking for the cheapest, but for the best, for the optimal offer. Also, the location and how the destiny can be reached, but also the possibility to make online bookings is a very important factor on top of the list, and this is where businesses have to check whether all their offers are online as well. And then also, of course, the coronavirus safety measures very much on top. So safety, security, and being able to trust those measures are very, very important. So measures taken at the accommodation and also flexible cancellation policies. So this is something very much influenced by the pandemic. So people would like to be able to cancel their bookings short term, depending on the situation. And there are also other factors, but the price, the optimal price, cancellation policies, safety measures are the top topics for selecting one's destination. Mr. Größwang, thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. The Austrian National Tourist Office supports the tourism industry in its restart. So these survey results support our market analysis. Austria is highly sought after for a summer vacation, not only among Austria's population, but also among foreigners. So the decision on where to spend one's vacation, here are the security measures in Austria very, very important. How does the entry and exit into the country work? How can I check in? Is there a bus? How can I have dinner after a day of hiking? How can I visit museums or cultural events or leisure events? And will it be possible to use a cable car or go swimming? We need to give orientation, provide orientation to guests and target groups. We need to let them know how vacation in Austria can work. And we provide information through our worldwide network to target groups. At the same time, we provide the Austrian tourism with all this information free of charge.
Of course, it is also important inspiring activation for Austrian tourism. Well, we have a big summer campaign which started at the 15th of May with multi-channel campaigns in different channels, in TV and also in digital channels. We are trying to find our tourists and guests in our neighboring countries, for example, in Germany, Switzerland, Belgium, the Netherlands, Czech Republic, Poland, and Hungary. This campaign is called A Good Summer is Waiting for You, and this is an answer for people who want to spend their holidays in nature and outdoor. And this campaign is supported by a bicycle campaign with 30 Austrian regions in Germany, in the Netherlands, and in the Czech Republic. And in Austria, we have mentioned this already. There is this Ö3, which is a radio program, a program in radio where we always talk about wellness in Austria and spas in Austria. A second important item in our activity is tourism in cities and cultural tourism, which suffered very hard. We have here 3 phases in 12 main countries. The first phase started already yesterday with the title Welcome Back in Austria's Cities, and we started this in Austria and Germany. We are concentrating on a restart convention, which is the support of Austrian culture and congress, especially the field of congresses, which suffered mainly because of the COVID pandemics, and where a lot has changed. Well, for example, today we are a virtual format. We have planned, of course, these days as a physical event, and we are supported by ANTO, and we are supported by the Convention of Austrian Tourism, and we want to develop the branch again. And we are also supporting all this branch with new sales and new sales measures, with a marketing content campaign which is called Connecting is Our Passion, financed by the COVID-19 special funds, and we are concentrating especially on the German market. Well, I need some water for the final facts and figures for the Austrian Tourism Days. Mrs. Stolba talked about this already. We have 3 days of very compressed program concerning restart of tourism. 150 employees of ANTO are included and involved in this event. So we are using the international network of ANTO for Austrian tourism. We are opening today the door to the world, and we are opening this door very openly. So there's a big interest in our tourism days. Yesterday we had already 1,600 registrations from 32 countries, among them 800 top buyers and more than 120 representatives of travel media. Globally, we have physical side events which are organized by our programs in New York, in Paris, in Sydney, in Peking, and many other cities. This means physical side events where we just address and approach our potential guests. For example, we invite them to concerts, we invite them to wine degustations, and we invite them for courses. So we expect that we have a big motivation pool for the Austrian tourism branch, because now we start the future. Thank you very much. Now let's start with the questions. We have a first question from the Netherlands. And here the question is concerning winter. Will be next winter be a normal winter, or will there still be limitations? Mrs. Stolba. Well, the Dutch skiers are very welcome in Austria. They love skiing. Maybe I want to explain. This year, we expect that generally, and of course, we also depend on our experts. Well, 20% we will be below the results of the last years because January, February and March, of course, compared to last year, had a lockdown, and the first winter season 2021 was more or less not realized. Well, as far as the future winter is concerning, well, this minus 20% are based on certain assumptions that we are opening now, that there will be free traveling, that entry and going back to your home countries will be easy. Of course, considering special safety measures. And so next winter, well, I will be very popular if I could say how this winter will look like. We assume that, of course, it will not be a winter without any limitations, without any precautions, but we think safety concepts, of course, will be valid also during next winter because nobody knows exactly how long the vaccination is effective. That means we think that winter will take place, but under certain safety, of course, conditions. And that, of course, we will have to stick to tests, masks, keeping distance, and we have to get used to these measures also for next winter. Testing is important for the next question from Barcelona. Can vaccinated people enter to Austria without tests? Petra? Well, in Austria, of course, this is decided by the Ministry of Health. And of course, we also consider incidence. That means the number of infected persons per 1,000 people. But we do not know exactly how this will be in the future. But we assume if everything goes smoothly, if everything goes well, if our concepts can be realized, if this incidence is decreasing, if the number of vaccinated persons is increasing, then there will be easier traveling. If this is with tests or without tests, this will be decided in the Ministry of Health. There is a question from France. When do you think that overseas travelers will be back? Well, we hope soon, but we have to tell you very honestly, we assume that the Asian tourists will be quite limited this year. Tourism from Asia will be difficult because finally traveling will happen within the regions. People will travel within their regions. There will be less overseas travel, but we hope that the United States will develop well, and we also are quite confident into the American market. But the Asian and the Australian market, we are worrying that this will take still some place. So Austria is in a very good position. Guests are sitting on packed suitcases. Thanks for coming, and I'm very glad to show you now the summer campaign of Austrian National Tourism Office. Good summer is expecting you in Austria. So thanks a lot.